So today I want to show you why my staircase had to be brought down 3 times. And it cost me quite a bit of money. And I'll use that conversation to show you how they nail you on matters labor in the village. Where the problem is, and I want you to take a look. This is the side of the stairs. From the outside, you can actually see the concrete smudging against the glasses. Good morning, good people. Welcome back to Karating. We are in Kisumu in Western Kenya. This is our lovely village home. It's a wonderful morning. I'm sure it's summer in many places in the world, but those in Australia and probably in Africa, it's probably winter. The weather is incredible. I'm going to walk with you outside so you see exactly what we wake up to. We're here in our hacienda. Usually early in the morning, we wake up and do what we got to do before I head out to our construction sites. But today I want to talk with you about how they nail you on issues labor in the village. And I'm going to show you that using my staircase, which had to be built 3 times. It wasn't fun, but I'll show you what happened. But anyway, so if you're joining us for the first time, this is Wonodidi's channel. I'm a Kenyan American who is working hard to return to the village permanently. I've spent about 2 decades in the US, and I think I've served my time and I'm looking forward to going back to the village permanently. So at the moment, I go back and forth between Long Beach, California, and Karating in Western Kenya. It's a very quiet village. We live. In fact, let me show you outside. Every morning, this is exactly what we wake up to. Just listen. Just take a look at that. It's the sounds, it's the views, and the fruits and everything else that we wake up to that really makes this place basically magical for some of us. And so for those who desire this kind of a life, if you want to try Africa, the kind of Africa you will not see on Google, we welcome you to come to the village. Because oftentimes when you Google up places like Kenya or some of these random places, you will always find things that are not fun. I promise you, there are parts of Africa that are magical in its simplest ways, and they don't have to be expensive. We have small little places that we try to do the best we can, and it allows us to lead a really dignified life in the village. So I help returnees with that process of coming back to the village, whether it involves traveling, whether it involves building. We've got builders, architects, and all kinds of supports. So if you've got questions, you need help with that, hit me up on the number that I posted below. But that's what we do. So in the meantime, we make a lot of noise online, talking about some of the things we've learned and the mistakes we've made. So today I want to show you why my staircase had to be brought down 3 times. And it cost me quite a bit of money. And I'll use that conversation to show you how they nail you on matters labor in the village. So that hopefully if you're in the process of building, you can avoid some of these mistakes. But at the same time, you know the right questions to ask the builders. So let me start by showing you some of the terrible things about our staircase, which for now, there's not much I can do with it, but later on in the future, I still hope to change that section here. Now, this is our house on the outside part. This is the main entrance. We have a massive steel door. It is very high. So this allows us to pretty much do anything with it. I think it looks okay. The workmanship is not exactly what I want, but it works for now. So this is the main entrance door. We have a very heavy door with a massive locking mechanism. And then where the problem is, and I want you to take a look. This is the side of the stairs. From the outside, you can actually see the concrete smudging against the glasses. And this does not meet my standard. Again, yes, Mama. What do you have? Oh, that's by the way, that's my supervisor engaging me in the video. What do you have, man? You have a heart? Oh man, no, this is not a heart. Are you sure? Yeah. Yes. No, it's not. Yes. Okay. Sorry guys, that's my little supervisor. She's down here with me and the brother, and we're just having a good time with them. Thankfully, I'm privileged to be able to be flexible with my job. So I often travel with my kids when I come, and so now they're here with me for as long as it takes, but they'll be heading back when it's time for them to go back. So anyway, you've seen what the side of the stairs looks like from the outside. I mean, those are some of the things that you may not always see on the videos, but I'm just keeping it 100%. There are things we got right, there are many, many things that we didn't get right, and now we're in the process of changing all of that. So, like I said, my staircase area was really done 3 times. And this is where I learned that, hey, there's some things you need to do differently when it comes to how you manage labor. So let me just walk you through, show you exactly what the staircase looks like, and then I'll show you the details. So when you get inside, in terms of the design, the staircase is right on your right side. So we've got this decent sized staircase, and underneath this is where we've created some kind of a space where all the solar gadgets are put in, and we also have a space for roofs. And so I want you to pay attention to the sizes of these ledges as we go up here. So basically here's what we have going up. There's a landing area here that is a fairly decent size. And I'll give you the exact measurements of the width. What we have is actually bigger than what they will typically describe as standard. So this is not a standard staircase in terms of width. So basically we have these 2 areas that go all the way up to the top landing area. And this is the other place where we had to make adjustments to create a bigger hallway right here. And then right next to it, I asked my designers to create some kind of a cabinetry area. So this place is where you can actually put like extra bed sheets, extra towels and things like that. So we've got plenty of spaces here. But these are adjustments that we had to make while designing the house. So essentially, when you're looking at the stair area from the top, here is what you will see. And at the time, of course, given our budget, we went with steel for the railing. Now, if I did it today, I'd probably do something slightly different, but I was working with a very tight budget. So we ended up doing steel railings, and this is what it looks like. Now, on the other side, you will notice we have wainscoting panels along the wall, all the way down to the landing area on the other side. So what ended up happening is that the first mistake I did with our stair is that we were working with village fundis. This was 5 years ago. I was working with village fundis, and many of them were actually my relatives that I was paying per day. So first mistake, mixing relatives with this kind of work. So that meant it was very hard to really hold them accountable to their work. So I've learned that if you ever have to work with relatives, they have to stick to the same accountability measures that you have with everybody else. The guy who did this was actually one of my uncles. And he was doing a terrible job, but because we were related, it was really difficult holding him accountable. So then the second mistake we did too, again, working with relatives and you're working per day, is that this section only, the staircase area only, the guys took nearly 3 weeks to get it done. A job that literally this work here, if I was doing today, would take no more than 4 days. They took 3 weeks. And it turned out that they would start working around like maybe 11 in the day. They would actually go drink and then come back around 11. Then they do a little bit of it. And then by 4, they're done and expecting a full pay. So it became so wildly expensive because they're not moving. And because they're being paid per day, they have no incentive to really get the job done. So never, ever do anything where you're paying per day unless under exceptional circumstances. You don't want that because then they're incentivized to just slow it down. So what I do nowadays with whichever work that needs to be done, we look at what needs to be done, then we discuss the cost, and I pay them the exact amount of money, whether they do it in 1 day or in 10 years. So in that case, they actually have an incentive to finish it sooner so they can move on to the next job. So avoid per day work, minimize work with relatives, unless they are disciplined relatives. Because sometimes, again, because of our African relations, it might be difficult holding them accountable to the same standards. Now, the second thing that I no longer do is that we don't calculate labor as a percentage of materials. Many contractors do that, and that's fine. But the reason I stopped doing that is that I've learned that with some of the fundis, if you're going to calculate labor based on the material cost, then they inflate materials. They ask you to buy more than you need. For example, the roof we just did somewhere, I will not mention, where I got 3 different quotes from 3 different experts. One of them actually had us buy almost about 60 extra iron sheets that are also priced higher. Because that means that when you break down the cost for material, it goes high. And so if you're doing a percentage, then they get more labor. So sometimes when you do labor cost as a percentage of material, then some foodies may be incentivized to actually do, maybe incentivized to inflate materials. So then you end up with extra materials that you didn't need and ended up costing you way more. So I tell them, look at a job, tell me how much you think it is, let's agree on the cost. And the other thing that I avoid too is evolving cost, where you start one thing and they tell you the labor is this, the next thing you know, they want that, next, and then you end up paying way more than planned. We almost always, with our builders, almost always do fixed labor. The only times we change labor is on foundation. Because with foundation, you just never know what you're going to find out. And so foundation labor can change, or if the client asks for more work, then we can adjust labor costs. But I absolutely do not like the idea of evolving labor costs, because it also makes it very difficult for clients to plan. So avoid that. But in any case, all of these things begin with getting qualified or really good professionals, because it's very hard to monitor grown adults who are supposed to be doing their work. So start with good builders, and then you take it from there. So again, this staircase gave me a serious headache. Now, the other thing to keep in mind too, there's a science to the calculation as to the sizes of the different parts of the staircase. Because you will notice, if you're not in building, you will notice that in some stairs, when you're climbing up, it feels okay. While in other places, it feels very hard on your knees. So you don't just do anything over here in terms of how big the ledge is and how the risers and the other ledges, there has to be some kind of calculation to it. And so you want a comfortable stairs when you're climbing, it's not really hard on your knees. So make sure your fundis know what they're doing to it. There's a science to it. You don't just build stairs. So make sure you ask about that. And if you're home, walk on it. Tell us how it feels. So you don't do anything with stairs. So folks, I hope you learned something from today's video, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.